Good evening. Welcome to Falls from Iron. Welcome to our post-match debrief. Duke sends his apologies. He's been waylaid at work. I mean, you guys that are long-time watchers of this particular channel know that, you know, he's a pub manager and Friday night tends to get quite busy. So you're stuck with me. We'll make the best of it. Those of you that are watching either live or at your own leisure, please don't forget, drop a like on the stream. It really does help the channel out tremendously. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and make sure you hit that bell icon to be notified of any new content as and when we upload it to the channel. Before we get into the talk that you're actually here for, which is the Genk match that took place yesterday at London Stadium, those, again, that are long-time supporters of the channel will know that something that we're quite passionate about, something that we usually try and mention where possible, is obviously young Isla Caton with her battle against neuroblastoma. Today, it's her birthday. So, happy birthday, Isla. If you actually manage to get to watch this, if someone actually tells you about this, or if your mum is actually watching this, or whatever, you know, if some way, somehow this can get to you, then from all of us at Falls from Iron, everybody that's connected with the channel, we wish you a very happy 7th birthday. We hope you got all your presents, everything that you wanted, you got, and keep fighting, young lady. Keep battling, and you have all of our love and all of our luck coming your way, young lady. And for those of you that can make a difference to this young lady, this information, copy and paste it. It's in the description below on YouTube and Facebook. Put it onto your social media platforms. Keep the momentum going behind this campaign. If you've got a couple of quid in your pocket that you don't know what to do with, do you know what? There's a gift just giving link there. There's, like I say, there's a now 7-year-old girl that's battling neuroblastoma, and her family have got to deal with all of the fallout that's around that. And again, for people that have been watching this channel for quite a while, know that this is something that's quite personal to me, because I've got a good friend of mine whose daughter had to sort of go through this as well. So yeah, if you can, like I say, put some money in the pot. If you can't, like I say, just at the very least, put this onto your social media platform, and let's help this family and this young girl out. Just going to have a little look who's in the live chat. Mr. McCready. Mr. McCready, listen, you don't need to apologise, number one. Am I officially better than you on Super 6? We'll find out once the Premier League season's done. Listen, I'm not crowing. Listen, it's all a bit of a laugh. It's a bit of fun. But, you know, yeah, I'm doing well at the minute. I can't lie. That's a nice little feather in me cap, and that's nice. But, you know, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. Lawrence, mate, I tell you what, your barbecues are absolutely legendary, mate. Absolutely legendary. Simon's wishing a happy birthday to Isla, as is Larry, and Words and Pictures has joined the party. So hello, hope you're doing well, mate. Okay, so let's get down to it. I'm going to share my screen with you, good people. There we go. I'll tell you what, I'll go full screen, and that's all right, Larry. Honestly, I've set your steaks and all your wares on your barbecue, mate. Honestly, I look at it on Twitter and it's like, oh my goodness, I feel so hungry. Okay, anyway, so moving swiftly along. So this was the West Ham team that took to the pitch against Genk last night. It consisted of Alphonse Areola in goal. You're going to have to excuse me because I'm about to cough. I will mute it. There we go. That's cleared me throat. Okay, so back four consisted from left to right of Aaron Cresswell, Issa Diop, Craig Dawson, and Ben Johnson kept his place on the right back slot. In front of them were the captain Declan Rice and Thomas Souček. And in front of them, we had from left to right Nikola Vlasic, Manuel Lanzini, Andrei Yarmolenko, and up top was Jared Bowen. Now, the initial team lineup that I saw actually had Bowen not as the striker. He, I believe, was on the bench, and Michail Antonio was the number 9. Now, it then turned out that actually no, Jared Bowen's going up top. Now, and Michail Antonio wasn't in the squad. Now, as I sit here chatting to you guys, I don't actually know anything more. And that's the missus that's just chipped in there to wish Isla a happy birthday. I don't know what the reason was. I've been out at work. I've had lots of things on my plate and I've been buzzing around. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know what the reason is why Michail Antonio didn't start yesterday's match, but he didn't. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it was nothing more than he felt something was a bit tight or whatever. And he's obviously told David Moyes, and David Moyes has gone, do you know what? We got an important game on Sunday. You know, they're a bigger fish to fry, and we can win this game without you. And we did. So, you know, that from that side of things, it worked out quite well. The Genk team, just for a little bit of balance, I mean, I don't expect any of you guys to know any of these names, because to be perfectly honest with you, pretty much none of them I do either. But you'll notice there was one player that I mentioned. Well, there was a couple of players I mentioned in the pre-match. One of that is in central midfield, number 42, Christian Torstvedt. Now, for those of you that remember the former Tottenham, forgive me, goalkeeper, also was a Norwegian international. His name was Erik Torstvedt. Well, that's his son in central mid. Up top was in the number 9 position, Paul Onuachu, who's a Nigerian striker, 6'7" tall, and is someone that has been linked with us quite a bit. Now, do I think that he, on the basis of yesterday's performance, that I'd be quite happy to see him as someone involved in the squad? I wasn't blown away. I've got to say, I wasn't blown away by Genk as an offensive force. I thought they played some nice football, to be honest, in certain patches, but just up front, they weren't terribly effective. Yes, they did put the ball in the back of the net on 9 minutes, but they were offside. It was ruled out correctly. And to be honest, other than a chance that they had maybe about 10 minutes later, when I was a little bit concerned because Areola was looking a little bit dodgy on the cross. He didn't really come out with an awful lot of authority, in my view. But he kept a clean sheet, so I suppose we can't really sort of grumble too much. I've seen a few people that have said about Areola that they thought he didn't have a particularly good game. And yes, that particular cross, around about 19, 20 minutes into the match. I get that some people would look at that with a little bit of concern. But at the end of the day, he's played 3 matches. He's kept 3 clean sheets. There was one, I don't know if it was before or after that particular, the cross. I think it might have been just a little bit after, but whatever. There was a through ball that was played. And Areola came flying out of his area and managed to snuff out the danger. You know, do I think if and I'm not trying to dig Fabianski out here, but I've got to obviously make the comparison because he's the other goalkeeper at the club, the other first team goalkeeper at the club. If Fabianski had been playing, do I think that Fabianski would have done a similar thing? Probably not. I think he'd have probably been a little bit more deep. I don't think he'd have come out and snuffed out the danger as well as Areola did in that particular situation. But listen, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, so that was the Genk team. Now, I'll just sort of like bring up a few little stats for any of you guys that are watching that like these things. We had the lion's share of possession. Now, possession obviously is not the end of the world. I mean, we know last season we had an awful lot of matches where we actually didn't have an awful lot of possession, but we still managed to get the job done more often than not. Exactly, Larry. I mean, you know, the fact that we could take 6 people out of the lineup that played against Everton on Sunday, and we still we looked, you know, a 3-0 scoreline looks very good. Yeah, that's very, very pleasing, I've got to say. But yeah, possession, we dominated it. We had 6 corners to their 5. We were caught offside twice, etc., etc. As far as our attacking stats are concerned, 3 goals. Now, I'll be honest, watching the game in the stadium, up to the point that Craig Dawson got that goal, I don't think that it was a particularly great first half. But obviously, Craig Dawson gets that goal just before the break, and it completely changes the team talks for both teams. You know, and from that point on, sort of like in the second half, the first 15 minutes of the second half, we ripped into them. I mean, if you guys that have watched the Matchday vlog that went out about 2 hours or so ago, we, for that first 15 minutes of the second half, we were tearing them to pieces. We were ripping them open like a bag of crisps. Seriously, we could have scored 4 or 5 in that particular period. We got 3, and that was enough. And from that point on, substitutions started to get made, and people sort of like, started to play in second gear and whatever. And, because the job was done, and there was no point in sort of going hell for leather at it and possibly risking someone getting a really stupid injury or someone flying into a challenge that was completely pointless and picking up a cheap red card. And do you know what I mean? So it was a professional performance. It was controlled. We didn't dominate the 90, as I say. In my opinion, we dominated a 15-minute spell from minute 45 to about minute 60. Either side of that, we were the better team, but we just sort of like, we kept them at arm's length sort of thing. We sort of, in boxing terms, we just sort of kept them at arm's length. We kept jabbing them back. Set piece goals. Craig Dawson, obviously, and Issa Diop with the 2 set piece goals out of the 3. Was it off of his shoulder or his head? Well, I've heard it come off of his shoulder. That's what I've been told, Larry. But if it's his shoulder, that's fine. If it's down there, it's a little bit different. But I mean, look, the referee allowed it. VAR didn't overturn it. So at the end of the day, it counted, and that's all there is to it. Just looking there, though, total shots, we had 2 more than they did, 12-10 advantage. We got 4 on target to their 2. Our shot accuracy was better. We blocked 4 shots. They blocked 3. Shots inside the box, 10-8, and shots outside the box, 2 each. Defensive stats, we made 16 tackles to their 10. We won 62.5% of the tackles to their 40% and made 10 clearances to their 20. And we also made 5 interceptions. They made 16. Distribution of the ball, we made 681 passes, 6.8% of them being long to their 10.3%. Our pass accuracy, now that's pretty impressive, to be fair, 88.4%. Pass accuracy in the opposition half was 83.9%, and in our own half was 89.9%. That's pretty good. Total crosses, 20. Now, I had a little look. Aaron Cresswell made 12 of them. Now, Aaron Cresswell, I thought, was absolutely brilliant on the night. 2 assists to his name. And this is a guy that, 2 seasons ago, everyone was saying, he needs to be replaced and this, that, and the other. And probably, we need another left back. But I don't think that Aaron Cresswell is a spent force. I really don't. And as I say, 12 crosses he makes in the game, and he gets 2 assists to his name. This is not bad. And I'll say it. I'll say it. As far as England are concerned, and I suspect that probably that ship has sailed a little while ago as far as Aaron Cresswell is concerned. But let's be honest about it. Luke Shaw, fair enough. He's the England number 1 left back. Okay, fine. Who's is there any reason why Aaron Cresswell shouldn't be involved in the England setup on the basis of his form? I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question. But yeah, discipline. We conceded 10 fouls to their 9, but there was no cards shown from either side in the particular match. There is the attack size. We had an awful lot of our attacks were coming down the wing. Look at that. 37% of our attacks came down the left-hand side. As I say, most of that would have been Aaron Cresswell. They were coming down the right mainly. That was their Japanese player, Ito. To be honest, he was the player that I was probably the most impressed with from Genk. I thought he looked a real handful. I think he's 28, though. I mean, if he'd have been maybe 22, I might have been saying, actually, this might be a guy that we ought to be having a look at. But I think at 28, I'm sure he was 28. I think maybe, probably a little bit late in the day. Shot directions, if you want to know, again, most of our shots coming through the middle with a fair chunk coming from the left-hand side. All of their shots came through the middle, and the shot zones there, to pick the bones out of that one. And then there you got your action zones. 25% of it was in the home third, 32% in the away third, with the rest of it coming in the middle third. And that there, ladies and gentlemen, is the table at the end of the match. So as you can see there, 3 games played, 3 wins, 9 points, 7 goals scored, none conceded. And I was going into that game, and obviously we want 3 points for West Ham, but I was also sitting there and saying, really, we want a win for Rapid Vienna against Dinamo Zagreb, because then that would mean that all 3 teams were locked on 3 points below us. Lo and behold, someone up there must have been listening to me, because I said 3-0 to West Ham and, Rapid Vienna to win. I got both my wishes. Now, you look at that. We've got our next game is away in Genk, in Belgium. Now, I don't really see, on the basis of what I saw yesterday, that they're going to pose too much of a threat to us. They might be a little bit better in front of their own fans, but I really don't see that they're going to drastically up their performance levels to a point where they're really going to trouble us. I don't see us getting anything worse than a draw in Belgium, which then puts us on 10 points with 2 games left. I don't see, I can't envisage a situation from this point on. I've got to be honest with you. And one of the 3 games we've got left is a home fixture. So again, I'm looking at that and thinking, really, that should be 3 points. Now, I just don't see any way. I really can't see any way. And I hope these words don't come back to bite me on the arse. But I can't see a way, given what we've seen thus far, that we finish second or below. I think we win this group. I seriously do. And that's massive, because, again, for those of you that might not be aware, if you win the group, you go straight through to the round of the last 16. If you finish second, they've kind of done a little bit of something different this season, in that there's now a playoff round before the round of 16, and you play against the teams that are dropping down from the Champions League. So the teams that finish third in the Champions League group stages play against the teams that finish second in the Europa League group stage. Now, I'd rather avoid Barcelona at this point. To be honest, I think at this moment in time, I think over 2 legs, I think we could probably beat them. Could. But I think I'd rather save teams like that to sort of like the later stages of this particular tournament, semi-final, maybe the final itself. But listen, you've got to beat what's put in front of you. If we had Barcelona put in front of us at the last 16, the quarterfinals, whatever, do you know what? So be it. Bring them on. 2 legs, home and away, 60,000. Get behind the team at London Stadium. Could really sort of give an awful lot of impetus to the team. And, David Moyes has the team defensively set. Like I say, you look at that. We haven't conceded a goal in 3 matches. Yeah, really good. Really, really good. Let's just have a look at the live chat. Lawrence, our subs are taking a European tour. Fair enough. Words and pictures. For me, it was a fun game to watch. Enjoyed it loads. Yeah, I mean, look, it was a frustrating game for the first 45 minutes. I was really frustrated with the first 45 minutes up to the Craig Dawson goal. And then obviously sort of like that 15-minute spell in the second half, just tore into them, got the bang, bang, second goal, third goal, done, game's over. And then the rest of it is just, let's sit back and enjoy it. And it was really nice to see Daniel Chester's getting his debut. I was hoping that Harrison Ashby would get on as well. That didn't happen, but he's already made his first team debut. Daniel Chester's made his first team debut yesterday. And this is a guy that I've actually seen play live in the under 23s, and potential. He has it. Now, is he going to make it? I can't say. We've had many players that have come through that I've looked and thought, this Reece Oxford. I thought Reece Oxford was going to come through. I'm well, Danny. Thank you. Hope you're well as well. And hello, Pete. Hope you're doing well as well. Reece Oxford was someone that came through and I thought was going to have a stellar career in claret and blue. And obviously it didn't happen. He's obviously gone away and he's making a bit of a name for himself in the Bundesliga with Augsburg, and good luck to him. But yeah, hopefully Daniel Chesters can come into the squad, come into the team, bed in over a period of time. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So, but yeah, so that's that. Get rid of that. Okay. So yeah, I mean, look, professional performance from the team for me. I don't really see that there was too many negatives. You know, no one got booked. I'm not aware of any injuries. And like I say, 3 wins out of 3 clean sheets. The only thing that kind of, I guess it's probably a little bit of a backhanded compliment in a strange sort of way, is that I look at Spurs' team that went to Holland, the Netherlands yesterday and played Vitesse Arnhem, lost 1-0. The team that they put out, from what I can see, was a pretty scratch team. An awful lot of their first team regulars didn't even travel, from what I've been told. So for me, that's a bit of a backhand compliment, because, you know, when you've got your next opposition and they have a game at the same time as you in a sort of like a European competition, and they're basically resting all of their star names because they know that you're playing each other in a couple of days, I take that as a backhanded compliment. I really do. And for me, that shows the progression, how we've evolved. We're not a team to be taken lightly. We're a team that, and don't forget, Tottenham, whether you agree with it or not, Tottenham are a top 6 in terms of money. Obviously not top 6 in terms of their league position last season. We occupied the 6th spot and they weren't above us. So in terms of positional, we're better than them in that regard as far as last season was concerned. But if we're talking money, they're obviously a bigger money draw, a bigger money club than we are. But do you know what I mean? Sort of like they're now looking at us and going, we got to be careful here. We got to rest all our top players and wrap them in cotton wool and all the rest of it. David Moyes couldn't do what Nuno did and basically rest everybody and expect to get the result against Genk. It could have gone very, very wrong. I think David Moyes was very, very clever in what he did. He rested 6 players, kept 5 in from the Everton game, and then once the game was won, off comes Cresswell, off comes Rice, off comes Lanzini. I know maybe Lanzini I'm not expecting to start. Bowen come off, didn't he, if I remember correctly? So, you know, he's tried to rest as many legs as he could, you know. So yeah, we go again, and we'll talk more about the Spurs game in our pre-match, which fingers crossed will be tomorrow. He seemed to be limping after game. Yes, I did notice that. I wasn't sure what that was actually about, but yeah, I did see, because he come off the bench, and I saw that on the highlights that I've seen latterly. He comes off the bench, doesn't he? If you've seen the same footage that I have, he comes off the bench and he's walking towards the pitch, and I'm looking and I thought that as well, and I was like, oh, I do hope that's nothing too much. Again, like I say, you'll have to forgive me. I've been out at work and I've had various other things on the go. I've not had an opportunity to go on the official club website and gen up and see if there's any news about players that have got knocks and all the rest of it. I've got no idea whether there's an issue there or not. Hopefully not, and hopefully Michail Antonio is fit and firing. I say this is a little bit of banter between me and my wife. You know, I turn around and say, you know, it's their cup final. Yeah, but you know that sort of like tends to sort of play into that narrative, doesn't it? Has Chester's got the chestnuts? Let's hope so. Exactly, Kieran. Exactly. I think he wants it. I think he's got the potential to, like I say, I think he's got the potential to be a first team player in the seasons that are upcoming. He's made his first team debut. It was quite nice. I mean, he put in a couple of hefty challenges as well. He wasn't overruled. He was like, no, I'm here to play. I'm here to make a name for myself, and good luck to him. I wish him well. So Simon, no news if good news, right? Yeah, exactly right, mate. Yeah, no news is good news. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody comes through. I'm guessing that David Moyes is probably going to do his press conference ahead of the Spurs game tomorrow, I'm guessing. So we'll probably know a little bit more about, is Antonio fit? Is Bowen? Are there any injury doubts? Blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. But no, I was really happy with yesterday's performance. We got Spurs on Sunday. And, so anyway. Not really too much more to sort of say about that. As I say, it was a fairly controlled performance. We had a 15-minute spell where we blew them away. We took the game away from them. We're leading the group. As for Tuchel, I've got no idea, Danny. As I say, I've been buzzing around. I've not. But I'll tell you what. Here's a question for you, Danny, and anybody else that's in the live chat. Does Tuchel come straight back in? On the basis of the last two performances that Ben Johnson's put in, does Tuchel walk straight into the 11? I'm not so sure he does. He might, but I'm not entirely convinced that David Moyes, on the basis of the two performances that Ben Johnson's put in, that he would just turn around to him and go, "Thanks for that, mate. You've had a decent couple of games. You've been part of a back line that's kept 2 consecutive clean sheets, but I'm going to put you over there and I'm going to bring this fella in." I'm not entirely convinced that is what's going to happen. We shall see. But Larry says it there. I thought Johnson played well. I was watching the post-match review that Gio and Gonzo did on yesterday's game, and I get what they said, where they said that Johnson has this tendency in sort of like certain games early in the match where he'll give the ball away a little bit cheaply. But then he tends to sort himself out. But defensively, I think he looks solid. At the end of the day, he is a defender, and primarily you want your defenders to defend first. And if they can, set the attacks going in the opposite direction. I know an awful lot of fullbacks in the modern era I look at and I think they're basically wingers. They're just deep lying wingers. But Danny, for me, he comes back in against the Spuds if he's fit, because it's the Spuds. No disrespect to Johnson, but I trust Tuchel a bit more. I respect that, and to a point I understand, but I just think if you've got a player that's, like I say, he's been part of a back line that's kept 2 consecutive clean sheets, what sort of message does that send to him and to everybody else that despite that fact, you're being hoiked straight out of the starting lineup when the guy that had your shirt before you got it is now fit again? I'm not so sure that sends out a great message, but we listen, time will tell. Kieran, Ben Johnson was worrying for the first 30 minutes, then settled. Kufel comes straight back in for me. Okay, I can understand the first 20 minutes or so. He wasn't exactly what Larry says. He does take a little time to warm up. He does seem to. That is something that does kind of concern me. But he kept a clean sheet. Or not him personally. I know that there's obviously more to it than just Ben Johnson, but yeah, and exactly what Pete says. It is a nice headache, and obviously you've got to factor in Ryan Fredericks as well. We've got 3 quality right backs. I know Ryan Fredericks came on and played at left back in place of Cresswell when Cresswell went off, but he really is a right back. I suppose that the thing that Ben Johnson's got in his favour is he can also play on the left as well. He's a genuinely 2-footed player. I prefer him on the right, if I'm being honest. But, he can use his left. He's decent enough. But anyway, I'm going to leave you good people and get on with my evening. As I say, Duke does send his apologies. I'm really sorry that he couldn't make it. But like I say, he's a manager at a pub, and Fridays, Saturdays, weekends is just basically a pain in the backside. So it is what it is. But please don't forget, this appeal is still ongoing. As I say, it's her 7th birthday today, young Isla. So if you can please just copy and paste it, put it onto your social media platform. You will find the information that's on this banner. below in the description line on YouTube and Facebook. So there's no excuse. You can copy and paste it, put it onto your social media platforms. If you're in a position to put any money into the pot, you've got a Just Giving link there. So please fill your boots, and happy birthday again to young Isla. As I say, it's her 7th birthday today. We wish you all the love, all the luck and support that we can give you. Everybody that's connected to Falls from Iron, from myself to Duke, all the guys in the live chat, everyone that we've collaborated with since the beginning of February to this present day. We're all behind you, and yeah, we wish you well. And just before I wrap it up, just going to have a little look at the live chat because there's a couple more that have come in. Yep, we are massive, Larry, no doubt about it. And you're very welcome. And Kieran, thanks for coming. And yep, words and pictures. Yep, same to you, mate. And no need to thank me. I enjoy it. As I say, it's it would have been nice, obviously, for Duke to be here, but I completely understand that he's got things he's got to deal with. We always turned around when lockdown was relinquished and Duke's time become more limited, become more of a premium. We knew that this was possibly going to be, he was going to have days where he was going to be up against it and he might struggle to make certain streams. So, this is going to happen, I'm afraid. He's got an awful lot of things he's got to take care of at the pub. So he sends his apologies. Hopefully I've managed to fill the blanks and keep you entertained for the last 32 and a bit minutes. Words and pictures. Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that. All our love to this little girl. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. And like I say, get on with my evening. I wish you all a good weekend. We'll be back at some point tomorrow. I'm not too sure what time. Duke and I will obviously discuss what time we're going to do our pre-match for the Spurs game. I've also recorded Opposition Recon with Tommy Talks Ball. He's a Tottenham fan YouTube channel. He's a really nice guy, actually. Just got to do a little bit of editing with it. It's about a 15-minute or so piece, and it's just sort of like talking about Spurs, their season so far. If any of you have watched the Opposition Recon, and if you haven't, go to the playlist, have a look. We just basically try and get an opposition supporter in the hot seat and just talk about how their season's gone, signings, have they bedded in, manager, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on because I've been going for nearly 33 and a bit minutes. Stay safe. Have yourself a good weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow. Come on, you Irons.